1975, Jaws terrified audiences and redefined summer blockbusters. But what if I told you that the story didn't begin then? It actually started 60 years ago in the real New Jersey coast. Hello everyone, my name is Debbie Balboa and I'm here to entertain you. Let's unpack the real story that could have inspired Jaws. That amazing film that, for those who haven't seen it, run to watch it. Honestly, it's one of my favorite ones. A master class on thriller and also quite the reason why sharks are very endangered. But let's unpack this. Steven Spielberg's Jaws is based on the best-selling novel by Peter Benchley. But Benchley didn't just invent a killer shark out of thin air. He was inspired by a string of chilling real-life shark attacks so terrifying that paralyzed a nation in fear. The year was 1916 and America was in the middle of a heat wave. Along the Jersey Shore, thousands of families fled their cities to cool off in the ocean. But something else was lurking in the water. It was July 1st, 1916, at the beach of Eagleside, New Haven, when Charles Van Sant, 25 years old, went for a quick swim before dinner with his dog. Not the dog! And then it happened. A sudden tug, a scream, blood spilled in the surf. Lifeguards pulled Charles out of the water, but his leg was shredded, and they took him to the hotel. But back then they didn't have the medical equipment or even the resources to take him to a near hospital, so he bled to death in the hotel lobby, his family at his side. How devastating! People were stoned. But very few actually believed it was a shark. They thought it was some sort of accident. And I don't know how can this be, because what sort of accident could have made his leg to be almost taken off? Just 5 days later, on July 6th, it struck again in Spring Lake, an upscale quiet community. Charles' brother, parentheses, both victims were Charles. Charles, if your name is Charles, don't go into the water, okay? Charles' brother, a 27-year-old bellhop, went for a swim during his break. Can you imagine? You're just wanting a nice chill break. And then people started hearing the screams across the beach. A woman screamed, "A man has been torn in half." He had been bitten both legs, basically. When rescuers reached him in a rowboat, they pulled his body out of the water. It was just a pool of blood. He was losing too much. He died before even reaching the shore. Panic began to creep in, but experts insisted sharks don't attack humans. It was wild back then, I think. We clearly understand animals in a different way. We have more information now. We have been invading more and more of their territory. So it makes sense that at that point, maybe there weren't that many shark attacks because we weren't that close to invading them. The New York Times called it a freak incident. Some blamed even a sea turtle for being chopped in half. I mean, turtles are powerful, but Then, on July 12th, the unimaginable happened. A shark swam miles inland into a narrow, brackish creek, the small town of Matawan. Around 2 p.m., Lester Stilwell, only 11 years old, was playing and swimming with his friends when something pulled him under. Can you imagine just being a parent and thinking your kid is safe because it's a creek, just playing around like any other time, and suddenly a shark is there? Boys screamed for help and ran to town. Stanley Fisher, just 24, dove in to search for the boy. He found the body. The shark was still there, and it attacked Fisher too, tearing into his leg. He was dragged from the water, still alive, but sadly he died from his wounds at the hospital. 30 minutes later, shark struck again, biting 14-year-old Joseph Dunn. Miraculously, Joseph survived. He was the only one who lived these attacks. By now, the East Coast was in full-blown hysteria. Beaches emptied, towns armed themselves. You can really see the parallels with the movie. The US government got involved. Even the president at that time, President Woodrow, I believe, held meetings about the crisis. Shark hunts began all across the Jersey Shore. Fishermen used dynamite and giant hooks, rifles, anything that could help them catch these monsters. People were afraid. On July 14, near the mouth of the Matawan Creek, a fisherman caught a great white shark, over 7 feet long. When he cut open the stomach, they found human remains. After that, the attacks stopped. Scientists later debated if it was really a white shark or a bull shark. Bull sharks can survive in salt water and fresh water. Matawan Creek was fresh. So that's why the debate started going on. Whoever was the killer was gone. The summer of terror had ended. Decades later, Peter Benchley got inspired by these attacks and wrote the famous novel Jaws, 1974, which Steven Spielberg later brought it into the big screen as Jaws, the movie. But while the movie gave us a fictional monster, it tapped into a fear that was quite real. The events of 1960 are almost forgotten today, but the shadow in the water, that chill on your back that you feel when you can't see the bottom of the ocean, comes from a summer long ago when something ancient rose from the depth and changed history. So next time you watch Jaws, just remember that fin in the water, those screams in the air, the beach getting isolated from people. It really happened. Thanks so much for watching. Again, please subscribe, like, comment if you like this video and you wanna see more of this type of videos that I have in mind. And whenever I learn something or just get really fixated on a topic, I just like to make content because if I'm interested, maybe someone out there is also interested. I'm a big fan of Jaws, of thrillers, of horrors. If you know, you know. So please subscribe and I'll see you until the next video. ¡Aviento!